Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Hard 100, a video series documenting the culling of my collection from what it is to what it's going to be, and that is a Hard 100 games. Mass market games get a lot of shit. Mass market companies also get a lot of shit. If I was to tell you, hey, who's Parker Brothers? Not Parker Lewis Can't Lose. Parker Brothers. You think, oh, I know what it's gonna be. It's gonna be some fucking Candyland-ass Monopoly shit. No, well, yeah, but then I'm like, oh, name another one. Like, oh, Milton Bradley. Okay, well, Life. All right, whatever. Sorry. All these games that you played as a kid that actually stuck with you to the point where if you liked those so much, you wanted to see what else was out there, and you ended up loving games. A lot of games that you own and that you play, and all of this, are because of companies like Parker Brothers and Milton Bradley. I think that they have made games, and they're not all great now with the hindsight being 2020, but in the moment, at the time, you fucking loved them. So let's talk about a game that I played recently that took me back to my youth, the youth of when I was a youth. And I played games and I didn't know any better, but because I didn't know any better, I was just able to have stupid fun with something that was probably dumb and terrible. Ladies and gentlemen, Battleball. Battleball game, the future of football by Milton Bradley and Hasbro Games, is a game in which you and one other player are basically just throwing a bunch of dudes at each other and rolling a goddamn lot of dice. On your turn, it's very, very simple. Each one of your dudes has a different colored base, and that base corresponds to a particular die. And on your turn, it's very simple. You're gonna point at one of your dudes, you're gonna use the die, you're gonna roll it, and you're gonna move around that many spaces. So you have your running backs who roll the D20, who have the potential to run as far as fucking possible. You have your big heavy dude who actually rolls 2 D6s, and then you pick whichever one you want. And there's a D8 and a D12, and it just kind of big and yellow, purple pills. Then you're just going to move that many spaces. If you move across the ball, you pick up the ball. First person to 2 points wins. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Battleball. It is so easy. There's a little bit more to it than that. On your turn, whenever you pick up the ball, whenever you are done at the end of your movement, you have 3 options. Option 1, pass. If none of your people are next to anyone else, you can pass the ball. The way passing the ball works is you look at who you want to pass it to, you pick up their corresponding die, you pick up this really cool football die, and you roll them. If the distance between you and them is equal to or exceeded, then wonderful, they catch the ball and that's it. If it's less, then they fumble the ball, in which case the other player takes the football die and then moves that football a certain number of spaces away from the person who intended to catch it, even in their own hand. Or you can hand off. If someone is right next to you, you have the option to hand off the ball. You basically roll your die and the person you're handing it off to, and you roll them. And as long as those numbers don't match, you're in the clear, you hand off. Very easy. But what you'll be spending most of your game doing is the aforementioned battle for the ball. It's rolling dice, people. It's so easy. You take me and I take you, and then we roll the dice. But the trick is the lower number wins. So if I have a running back with a D20 going up against my big heavy, which is 2D6, then obviously the running back does not have a good chance of rolling lower than my big heavy dude, so he's probably gonna get obliterated. And when he does, he explodes and leaves down a little carnage token on the board, but don't worry, he'll come back in the next round. Maybe. If you roll too low, if you roll a 1, for example, you not only explode, you're out for the entire game. So it is possible to beat the other person for the round, not only by getting rid of all of their people instead of scoring the 1 point that you need, but it's also possible to win the entire game by eliminating everybody that style. So the heavies and the ones who roll the D6, they have a chance of winning a lot of tackles, but they also have the greatest chance of exploding because rolling that 1 is a pain in the ass, and it's fun. And as the game goes on, the field is gonna litter with all these carnage tokens and you can't move over them. Anytime you would ever run next to someone from the opposing team, you have to stop and then you have to initiate a tackle. So the idea is to try to weave around people, or you can just run away and play chicken shit and just try to beat up the other person that way. After you score a point, which is getting your dude and the football to the end zone, you reset behind the 20-yard line and then go. It's very, very simple. There are also some other kind of fiddly rules with if you roll the same number, you're both out if you're trying to tackle. There are other rules for fumbling the handoff and that kind of thing if you roll doubles. But at the end of the day, Battleball, it's fun. It's so stupid. God, it's stupid. I can imagine if I was a kid and this was a game that I got. Man, it's stupid, but it's fun. It's basically Mutant League football, but football. Now, let's do some housekeeping before we get into some nitty-gritty stuff. Ages 8 and up. It is simple. The carnage and the explosion, everyone's basically some kind of version of a robot, so it's whatever. 2 players, as I mentioned, 2 players. And the game itself is no longer than 30 minutes. It's super easy to set up. It's super easy to whatever. It comes with 22 detailed miniatures and a giant board. That board is fucking huge. It's 3 bifold puzzle piece board. And when you get it on the table and you have everyone out, it's just, man, it's fun. It's fun to look at. It's silly to look at. It's fun to play. So let's talk about something. Let's talk about a game on here very similar to this recently called Blitzball. Now, Blitzball is a good game. I love it. I love it a lot. And this is the way that I can compare these games. It's a way that everyone can understand. Ladies and gentlemen, what you're looking at here is Pokemon. Professor Oak has just got finished banging your mom. He's like, hey, here, take one of these dumb lizards out into the woods and try not to kill yourself. The options he gives you are something, something, and Battleball. So you take Battleball because you're a rational human being. And after playing Battleball for a little while, oh, what's this? Battleball has begun to evolve. He has evolved into Blitzball. And then after you go win a couple of badges and beat a couple of gyms, Blitzball evolves into Blood Bowl. Now, Blood Bowl I don't have, but I do have this. That book will stand in for Blood Bowl. So here you have your 3 evolved forms of the battle football idea. You have your very simple starter, you have your mid-range, it's going to take you through most of the game, and then you have your legendary final form, unless you count the mega evolved forms, but no one does. Here is your Pokemon setup. So depending on where you are, a couple of things are true. 1, this game is fun. It's simple. You can play it with basically anybody, even people who don't like football. When you level up a little bit, you start introducing a lot more rules. You start introducing a smaller field. You start introducing cards and things like that. And then you start introducing, I don't fucking know, I played the game on PS4 and it's still complicated as shit. The cost also goes up. So Blood Bowl, stupid expensive because every race is their own mini, etc., etc. Blitzball is, what was it, 40 bucks? And worth every penny, and you can use proxies. And then there is Battleball, which is just throwing dice at things. Does my collection have space for any and all of these? Obviously, I'm keeping Blitzball because I love Blitzball. I really, really like it. I like it. But also, one of my favorite games that I own is Blood Bowl Team Manager, the card game. I love this game. This is not even kind of the same game as those, it's just the same theme. So what I'm looking at are 3 football games and a football book, whatever. I don't even really like football. I love the way it looks on a high definition television. Go Texans. But for some reason, I've always been drawn to Blood Bowl. This is not a Blood Bowl game by any means at all. All these other ones are. So does Battleball have a place in my collection when I have all this other stuff? And the answer is yes. Here's why. I mentioned before with Blitzball that I really wanted to get into other races and kind of expand the game and see how much I could pimp it out. And I think I can use the Battle Bowl field to play a pretty epic game of Blitzball. And I can use the Blitzball minis to proxy some of the other stuff for Blitzball. Awesome. So as far as Blood Bowl, I'm never buying Blood Bowl. I'm going to read the books, I'm going to play the PS4 game maybe, and I'm going to play Blood Bowl Team Manager because I fucking love that game. I have all the expansions, I really, really like it, and I've always had a damn good time playing it. Now, Blitzball, wonderful. I love it. Even looking at this box again, I'm like, oh man, remember how much fun this is? The field's a little small, but I could make that big field. I could make a big game. I don't know how much faster the game will be, but I just, Then you have Battleball, a game that's silly and stupid and silly, and it's just chunking so many dice at each other. It is the definition of Ameritrash. You take an American theme, which is American football. You take the Ameritrash idea, which is just handfuls of dice and chance, and who cares? But then you take the American idea of, this will probably be good with a few beers with your 8-year-old. In my hard 100. Now this is a gray area. While I do plan on keeping this game and playing it a handful of more times, I may start to see that I don't really need this if Blitzball is going to take care of it, but sometimes you look at a game and you're like, oh fuck, I forgot how to play that. I don't know when I have to relearn it. But then you see Blitzball and you're like, oh, I know how to play this. Just rolling dice, let's go. It's fun. I don't know if you can find a copy of this. I got this used at a half-price books for 10 bucks. I think you can buy it online for about that price. And even if I just cannibalize this and put it into my Blitzball and start using the components here to play the other game or vice versa, man, it's just fun. It's so stupid though. God, it's stupid. I was a stupid ass kid. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me on this latest edition of the Hard 100. Battleball is a stupid game, but damn, is it fun and silly. And if you take yourself too seriously, maybe you won't care, maybe you won't like it. But if you're like me and you take yourself not seriously enough, I mean, come on. Just ripping the fucking guy's head off. God, it's stupid, but it's fun. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me on this, the latest edition of the Hard 100. I hope you and yours are well. Peace out.